Great. Well, first of all, thanks again for being so kind to let us use your church for Christ-centered chiropractic.
Andrew and Ryan play a big part here and do a lot, so I'll help them any way I can.
Yeah, what people watching me not realize is your son, you've got one of the fastest growing churches in America, but your son also happens to be a chiropractor as well as his best friend, Dr. Ryan. So that at least you're well adjusted in this process.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit, first of all, about the church, because that's, where this event is happening. Those that don't know about your church, I got to drive by it when I was on my way to Sherman College a few weeks ago. It's a beautiful campus. Let us know a little bit about what's going on.
We started the church 15 years ago, and we started at Pickens High School, and we started with 180 people our first Sunday. And the next 3 weeks, I really know how to grow a church. We went from 180 to 150 to 120 to 100. Then from that point we have just for 15 years taken off, and we moved from there to a Colony Theater in which we remodeled it and then outgrew it, moved to the Crane Chevrolet building, outgrew it, and then we are now in our home. We bought a Walmart of 80,000 square feet. I just got done, hadn't been in it a year, had to knock out walls for auditorium, and we just got into a 1,200 seat auditorium. And we've grown from 0 to this past Sunday. We had 2,750 in August in a 25,000 person city. So it is amazing what's going on, not just in the numbers, but the amount of life change that's going on. Just lives being radically changed for the cause of Christ. So really good things going on.
Wow, we're so thankful for your work. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And this is a very spiritual seminar we're doing, but also very pragmatic, very practical seminar. Yeah. So what you've accomplished, everybody watching should realize, is not normal. That is not normal growth. That's incredible growth.
And see, we were the 45th fastest growing church last year in America. And this year, I think it'll be much higher because we've averaged 500 more people than the same Sunday a year ago. But the incredible part is we're not in Atlanta or Los Angeles. We're in a 25,000 person city. So it is a supernatural move of God that's going on.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's even a Starbucks there yet, from what I can see. So again, it's not a normal thing. Yet every pastor certainly opens up a church, and they're certainly hoping the same thing happens, that the seats would fill up and they'd have to keep expanding their building and buying new land. Certainly they hope that the people that are in those seats are living life in Christ. They're not just showing up on Sundays. And chiropractors have the same desire. We all open up our clinic. We hope it grows. We hope we have to expand. We hope thousands come to us and they change their life through the chiropractic way of living. But that doesn't happen. So some succeed, some don't. What are maybe some keys that you've seen that are maybe different from what you've done to get that kind of growth compared to maybe some others?
I've been asked on numerous occasions, what do you think the secret sauce is? Why? Does God the Father want any Bible-believing church to grow? Yes, I'm convinced that. Then why are 90% of churches in the decline in America? Several factors, I believe. Number one, and I believe this goes with pastors and chiropractors. Number one, you got to know who you are and what God's called you to do. Some people want to call me arrogant, and I am not arrogant because the Bible goes against that. But I'm very sure in the call in my life. I'm very sure that Easley, South Carolina has been given to this pastor and this church, and we're going to do everything we can to reach every single individual in this church. Number two, we have created an incredible culture of growth. A lot of businesses do not create, a lot of churches do not create an environment for growth. We are created for growth. Got into a brand new building less than 2 years ago. We were in it for less than a year, and God said, you better not start knocking out walls. And of course, what our people do? Well, we got a brand new building. We got a great big auditorium, but you don't understand. If the jars get full, the oil's going to stop flowing. And God had spoken to my heart, bro, you better knock out walls. Knocked them out. We didn't think it'd be full. We're full. And it's only August. So you have to create a culture, an environment, and a building for growth. So one, you've got to know who you are and what you've been called to do. I'm not trying to get on platforms and conventions. I've been put on this planet to reach this city. That's the call in my life. Number two, you've got to create a culture of growth. Number three, and it's the truth for chiropractors and for a lot of pastors, work. Get up and go to work. We work very hard in this church. My staff works hard. I work hard. Andrew and Ryan work hard. I'm so tired of lazy pastors and then they want to say, well, we're waiting on God. That is a crock. God did what he said he would do through his son, Jesus Christ, to sit at the right hand of the Father, and he's done. God is not. We shouldn't say we're waiting on God. God's waiting on us. God wants he has a very specific plan. He gave us a very specific manual on how to do it. He's waiting on us to do what he has asked us to do. Same with chiropractors. It's not real hard to grow a good business, but you got to work. You got to create an environment for growth, and you have got to know who you are and what you've been called to do. There we go.
Well, I think some people just got saved again just by that.
Hey, I'm good at that. I've led thousands of people to Jesus, and there's thousands more to reach, okay?
And so, one other thing, I see you're obviously a Clemson fan. You're around the corner. I'm a Buckeye fan. I think it also helps, maybe number 4, your football
team. Right now for being Lerner. God, did he get on the right?
Your football team has to be at least ranked in the top 5. Otherwise, it's really hard to grow.
Yes.
Your church, your chiropractic clinic. Final thing, just a question I know you'll have a great answer to. So now I'm a pastor. I work with a lot of pastors as well, or I'm a chiropractor. So it has been growing. I've watched your church explode while mine sat there flat or shrinking, or I've watched other doctors do really well, and I've struggled. And so they can get to a place where they're starting to doubt, maybe the doubt God moving in their life, or beginning to get frustrated to the point where they're beginning to question their own abilities. What would you say maybe to encourage that pastor, that doctor, to get them going again?
First of all, I would really concentrate on Colossians 3:3, which says that your destiny is buried inside of you, and you got to go search it. There are certain pastors, I'm being nice, okay, that I do not believe were called to be pastors. If you don't have the gift of teaching, then you're probably not called to teach. But then I have been around a lot of guys, man, they are good Bible teachers, and yet their church isn't taking off. Okay, is there more to growing a great business than just being somebody who can pop a net good, or who's somebody who can preach good? Yes, and that takes us to our systems and our structures. You have got to evaluate, is what you're doing working in the city that you're in? Because we are out of space, here's a great example. People said, why don't you try a Saturday night service? Do you know how well Saturday night service would go over here during football season? Are you kidding me? They want to be here. Much less people. That ain't going to fly. So you've got to do what works. Dr. Sam Chan, which I believe is one of the greatest leaders in America, says it this way. I don't care how big your train is or how fast the train is. If the tracks can't accommodate the train can only go so fast. That's your system and your structures. When we got to 500, we had to change system and structures. When we got to 1,000, when we got to 2,000, we are preparing for 4,000 and 5,000 now, and we just completely changed all our system and structures, because what worked to get to 2,000 will not work to get to 5,000. So you really need to evaluate, are your systems and structures in place? And here's why. What's the point of pouring out the oil if the jars ain't empty and ready for them? So many businesses need to look at how they're running the business. I'm so proud of Andrew, because he continues to change. Because what it took for Andrew to get to 100, he had to change to get to 200. And now he's knocking the door of 300, and we've already been talking about some of the changes it's going to take to get to 500. So I believe, I'm telling you, church growth and business growth, a lot of it goes hand in hand.
So good. And that's, this conference is a spiritual conference, personal growth, family dynamics.
Hand in hand, Ben, Dr. Ben, hand in hand.
Yeah, we're going to get into a lot of the actual systems, the processes, procedures. Actually, the largest chiropractors in history are all speaking there. And then Friday night, what people may not realize is we have this incredible Friday night session. We've got praise and worship. We've got special guest speakers. Dr. Rob and I are speaking, but then you're wrapping up after another great ending with some more amazing praise and worship. Going to be an incredible night at the church.
Be a good night. Be a good night.
Well, hopefully if you're watching, you plan to be at the C3 Summit. Thanks again, Dr. Dean, for all that you do. And for everybody else, remember who you are.
Love what